Welcome back, and I have another Silph Cup Arena tournament recap for you, and this is my second Mirror Cup. We did them on back-to-back days, and this was our Regionals Cup. This was actually my weighted cup, which might have been a mistake because this was day 2 of 2-day tournament, and a lot of people couldn't make it out or had lost interest or were too fatigued to do 2 tournaments in a row, and we only had barely enough people to run the tournament, so it's actually only a 3-round tournament. And the team that I brought was actually the exact same team that I ran in the first regional cup that I ever did, and it was one that I had won. So it's a team that I had practiced with a lot and I was comfortable with, and I had a lot of good memories with this team, so I was excited to try and use it again. The meta had changed quite a bit since the last time we did this tournament, but I was confident that I could win using this team. First up, we have Alolan Marowak running Hex, Bone Club, and Shadow Ball. He's a pretty safe lead, a hard Medicham counter, and threatens Shadow Ball all the time, so he's good for shield pressure and shield baiting. Next up, I have the Mustache, the Probopass, and I'm actually undefeated with a Probopass on my team, and he's become one of my favorite PvP mods. He's running Spark, Rock Slide, and Thunderbolt. He's tanky, he counters Skarmory, he counters Azumarill, and he's pretty spammy. For my third slot, I have Gallade, and he's running Confusion, Leaf Blade, and Combat. And he's my grass type coverage as well as a great sweeper, and also that Confusion just puts in work against any poison type. And to round out the team, of course, I have a Medicham, an Azumarill, and a Skarmory, all running pretty standard movesets, except Azumarill has Hydro Pump instead of Ice Beam. I prefer that for coverage against Bastiodon, Skarmory, and overall big neutral damage. Okay, so for round number 1, I am matched up against Brobirds, and Brobirds is running a team that looks very similar to my Boulder Cup team, except it has an Azumarill, and the only Pokemon that I'm really worried about in this team preview is that Swampert, since I don't really have a hard counter to it, and my Probopass, my Marowak, and my Azumarill can lose to it pretty easily. So let's just get right into it. For battle number 1, I have Azumarill, I have Skarmory, and I have Gallade. I'm leading with Azumarill here just because I know Swampert's a popular lead, and I want my Azumarill to take Hydro Cannons for me. But I end up catching the Skarmory out here, and that's fine for me. I'm going to go straight for Hydro Pump here. I'm not going to bother shield baiting even though he has both of his shields. He doesn't know whether I'm running Ice Beam or Hydro Pump, so I eat a Sky Attack, and then I go straight for the Hydro Pump, hoping to get a big hit here. And I do manage to almost take out that Skarmory with just one Hydro Pump, and so that was a pretty good play on my part. And I'm going to go ahead and shield a Sky Attack just to preserve as much health as I can on my Azumarill. And I'm going to farm him down. So I farmed him down, I'm back to a Hydro Pump, and I have a bunch of energy on my Azumarill. So I pull up the switch menu, and then I make a mistake here. I should have countered this Medicham with Gallade because I ended up locking my Skarmory in with Bastiodon. So I send Flash Cannon. He's a smart player. He's not going to shield anything that Skarmory's sending against him. So I'm just going to do as much damage as possible and then let Skarmory go without wasting my final shield. So I'm going to eat a Flamethrower here. And I'm letting Skarmory go just because I know I have Gallade and Azumarill, and I know between those two I can handle his Medicham and Bastiodon. So there's no use in keeping Skarmory alive. So Skarmory goes down, and he's farming for a good amount of energy, but I go Gallade here because I know I've got to get both of those shields out of him, and I won't be able to land that Hydro Pump from Azumarill with those shields on the board. So I eat a Flamethrower, and maybe I should have shielded Gallade there, but I felt I wanted that final shield for endgame situation with Azumarill and Medicham. So I send the first Leaf Blade, get the first shield, and I send the second Leaf Blade, and I do manage to get a second shield out of it. So Gallade's pretty much done its job. Anything it does now is kind of extra, and I make a mistake and just shield on Reflex. I was maybe trying to land another Leaf Blade and just take out Bastiodon, but it's not going to work. So Azumarill's got to farm down Bastiodon here, and then I pull Hydro Pump on his Medicham, but I just don't have, it's just not enough. So not enough damage, and he gets to a Power Up Punch, and that's GG for me. So maybe I was trying to shield Gallade to keep it alive to get a confusion off so the Hydro Pump would kill, but I didn't play it right, and Brobirds ends up winning. For battle number 2, I switch it up and bring Alolan Marowak as my lead. I'm looking to get shields out of him early with the Marowak lead, and I back it up with Azumarill and Skarmory. He leads with his own Skarmory again, and so I'm just going to play it out. I'm willing to let Marowak go just if I can get his shields out of him. So I go straight for the Shadow Ball. Sometimes I like to shield bait that, but I played Brobirds quite a bit, and he knows how I play Alolan Marowak. So I just send the Shadow Ball straight up. I'm going to shield a Sky Attack here, and we've gone 1-for-1 shields, but I know I can beat him to a Shadow Ball before he gets another Sky Attack. So he's either going to take big damage to his Skarmory here or have to use a shield. And Marowak's pretty much done its job. It's done most of a Skarmory, and it's taken a shield for me, so I'm willing to let it go here. So I let Alolan Marowak go down, kind of as a sacrifice, and now I'm keeping switch advantage, and I'm going to be able to kill his Skarmory and get energy on my Azumarill. So I've already got mostly to a Play Rough or a Dazzling Gleam, and out comes Swampert. So I'm just going to send Play Rough, and this is why I let Alolan Marowak go, was so that I could have energy on Azumarill. So now I'm going to be able to handle this Swampert a lot better. I'm not going to have to use a shield against any of these Hydro Cannons, and even though it's resisted, it still does really big damage. So Swampert's just a beast now with that Hydro Cannon, and he's just getting them off really fast. So I'm going to just keep taking him with my Azumarill. And I thought about farming him down, but I don't want to play around with those Hydro Cannons too much. So I end up using the Play Rough, taking a shield, and I'm just going to farm him down with Skarmory and use that final shield for one Hydro Cannon. I think whatever's in the back between my Azumarill and Skarmory, both having energy advantages, I think I can handle it. And with no shields, it turns out to be Medicham. So Sky Attack here. And that's why it was important for me to make that switch. So now my Skarmory doesn't have to take a Power Up Punch until right now, and that's the first Power Up Punch, so it's not going to do a ton. So if I didn't have the energy advantage, Medicham may have been starting to get powered up, and then that's a problem, but I didn't let it happen, and I come out with a win. For battle number 3, I switch it up again. Now I'm running Probopass as a lead, because he's led Skarmory twice against me, and he leads Skarmory again. With Probopass, I've got Azumarill and Skarmory, and I like that as a core to my team. So I bait out the Medicham switch, and I come back with my Azumarill, just because I was trying to save these shields for later in the battle, because I know he's got Skarmory and Medicham, so I'm thinking he probably has Bastiodon. So I'm going to go ahead and send Play Rough to try and take shields. And I do manage to take the first shield from him, and I'm just going to eat a bunch of Power Up Punches with my Azumarill. Eventually, taking too many of them and letting Medicham get too powered up will catch up to my Azumarill, but I figured as long as I get shields out of him, my Skarmory will be able to handle it, and my Probopass can handle his Bastiodon, if he does in fact have Bastiodon. Now this is really risky if he has Swampert in the back. So I managed to get that second shield, and I think right about here I'm thinking, what about Swampert? So I shield, and this is a mistake. If I was going to shield my Azumarill, I should have done it earlier, the one before it, I think, to keep more health on my Azumarill, and I would have been able to get to a Play Rough. So now I'm gonna shield Skarmory, because I don't want to take this super boosted Power Up Punch, and it's really not ideal. I don't think taking that move would have killed me, but also I knew I need health somewhere, and so I've got Skarmory out here, and I got Thunderbolt loaded up, so I'm going to go send a Thunderbolt at Skarmory, and if it's the Swampert, it's going to bait it out here, and out comes Bastiodon, so that's okay for me. I'm going to play this matchup out. And I keep sending Thunderbolts here. I couldn't remember in the moment whether Rock Slide or Thunderbolt did more damage. I know Rock Slide's slightly less energy. But I saw what damage I did to Bastiodon, and Bastiodon doesn't have any moves that can really hurt Probopass. So I figured just keep sending Thunderbolts. I know only the Rock type of Bastiodon is resisting Thunderbolts, whereas the Steel and Rock are resisted for my Rock type. So I keep sending Thunderbolts, and this is just taking forever. Probopass can win that matchup, but it takes forever. And I switch out at the last second here because I want to save my Probopass for what's left of his Skarmory. So I eat a Flamethrower because I know I have Flash Cannon loaded up. So Flash Cannon's going to be able to take down this Probopass, and I figure Skarmory's going to be able to take his energy here. I don't know why he didn't farm me down, but he goes ahead and sends a Sky Attack, maybe worried that I was close to a Sky Attack. So I know Probopass pretty much has this on lockdown, but he kind of surprises me and gets back to a Sky Attack. But that's okay. It's not going to kill Probopass, and then we run out of time. I have never seen that happen in any of my tournaments, and we asked the admin, and they said we have to replay it. We are going to a match number 4, so I'm just sticking with the exact same team. I know I can win if I play it a little better, and it looks like he's sticking with the same team. The admin said we could change teams if we wanted to, but I just went ahead and went back in with the same team, and I'm thinking he did the same. Now here, he does a really great switch to take Rock Slide with that Medicham, but he didn't really need to shield that. Rock Slide isn't going to kill that Medicham, but he goes ahead and burns the shield, so I come out with Skarmory this time instead of Azumarill, because I know Skarmory can kill Medicham faster than Azumarill can, and if I'm going to burn shields on this Medicham matchup anyways, it might as well be for my Skarmory. So I take his final shield with his Sky Attack, and I'm going to go ahead and use that shield on this Power-Up Punch. So there's not much that this Medicham can do. I'm just going to get to a Sky Attack, and that is going to wipe out his Medicham. So by doing that, I'm freeing up my Probopass to get back in here against his Skarmory and probably whatever he has in the back there. So I'm going to let Skarmory go here, and he didn't need to do a charged attack here, but I understand being worried about taking a Sky Attack from a Skarmory that's just going down. So I get to the Thunderbolt on my Probopass. Probopass really locks down Skarmory. So he's going to take that Thunderbolt with his Skarmory, and his Skarmory is pretty much gone here. I don't need to shield anything Skarmory has. And Probopass takes that hit like a beast. And his final Pokemon is Bastiodon. So now we're back in the timeout situation. These matches between Probopass and Bastiodon took way longer than I expected. I knew that my Probopass can win against Bastiodon, even taking flamethrowers to the face. Probopass shakes it off with his big furry head, and there you go. It's just going to take 3.5 minutes for us to pin each other down. I do have my Azumarill in the back, but I don't know why I didn't bring it. I just wanted to play it out with Probopass. I guess maybe wondering if there was a Stone Edge threat on my Azumarill. I don't really remember exactly how much health it had. I think it's at full health. So I just played out with Probopass just because I knew it could win. And I had Azumarill for insurance. I could have sped this up if I just brought Azumarill in, but I think I might have been trying to prove something. So there you go. I finally win the Probopass Bastiodon matchup, and I'm headed into round number 2. For round number 2, I'm matched up against Autodidact, and for his team, he's running with what I consider the new meta, and that consists of Lantern and Sableye, as well as Medicham and Skarmory. He's dropped Azumarill here and is running with a Charm User and Wigglytuff, which I don't really have a specific charm counter on my team. And to wrap it up, he's got Venusaur. So if he brings Wigglytuff, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to counter, but I faced Sableye in the first regionals. I faced everything on this team in the first regionals except for that Lantern and that Wigglytuff, and of course in the heat of the moment and with the fatigue of 2 tournaments wearing on me at this point, I forgot to record our first battle. So this is the second battle of our matchup, and I ended up barely winning the first battle. So for our second battle, I am sticking with one of my favorite teams in regionals. It's Probopass, Azumarill, and Skarmory. They all complement each other and they can counter most things. And he leads with Lantern, so I feel like if you see the Lantern, you know the Sableye is probably in the back. And actually I'm okay with playing out Lantern matchups with my Probopass just because I'm resisting his Thunderbolts, and I'm doing neutral damage to him with all of my charge moves, and I can get to them more quickly. Eventually those water guns are going to catch up to me, and they kind of do here, so I send the Thunderbolt, it's still neutral damage, but I think it does a little bit more. And then Probopass goes down. I'm alright with losing Probopass there. I kept my switch advantage and I didn't waste any shields. And I knew that Lantern was farming me, so I figured why not just double shield the Skarmory here, wipe off that Lantern, and then probably go into the Sableye matchup or whatever his third Pokemon is with energy advantage. So I double shield the Skarmory, and since I won the first game, I'm willing to play a little more aggressive. And he takes the Lantern back there, and I thought it had died. So you're going to see me play a little wonky later in the match because I thought Lantern was gone. And his Medicham comes out, and I've wasted all my shields, so he's going to start power-up punching. I'm okay with letting Skarmory go here because I know Azumarill can confidently handle that Sableye, and he can confidently handle Medicham if Medicham doesn't have any shields. So Skarmory's going to go down. I'm okay with that. I pretty much sacrificed my Probopass and my Skarmory, and I'm putting it all in the hands of my Azumarill here, but that's okay. This tiny little blue bunny is just a magical beast, and he's going to be able to eat power-up punches, and he sends an Ice Punch. So I think it does maybe a little bit more damage, and there comes that Lantern, and it pretty much immediately dies after we lag out here. I don't know if he was trying to switch it out earlier. So I farmed up a lot of energy on my Azumarill here. So now I know I can send this Dazzling Gleam and then farm up his Sableye a little bit here. And I'm going to be able to eat a Foul Play. So I eat the Foul Play, and his Sableye lived with just enough health to get me pretty much back to a Dazzling Gleam. So that's going to take out the Medicham and give me the win in round number 2. And now we are moving on to the third round of the tournament and the final round of the tournament. And I am faced off against my day 1 rival and one of my biggest training partners for the entire season. And I just want to say thank you for helping me so much this season. And I look forward to really, really close battles and a ton of practice with you next season. I feel very lucky to have such a talented training partner, and also a training partner that I can have so much fun with. If you guys are watching out there, you guys need to get you a training partner that you can have a ton of fun with, and that you guys can encourage each other and help each other build teams. It's probably helped me more than anything and more than any tool, and it's been a blast. And most notably, this guy was also the guy that I played in the finals of our first regional tournament. So it looks like his team has changed a bit. He's added Sableye and Lantern, and it's actually the exact same team that I had just faced, except now it has an Azumarill instead of Wigglytuff. So let's see who comes out on top. So of course, again, I was a little freaked out and intimidated by my opponent that I didn't actually start recording until I hit my first charge move on our first battle. So here we go. So I'm using the same exact team that I did against the last team, and I had just sent a Rock Slide, and I'm playing against the Lantern here, and I'm gonna go ahead and shield Probopass this time because I know with this shield, and if he doesn't shield, Probopass can take down this Lantern. and that's advantageous for me because I know he's using Lantern to counter my Azumarill. So once I'm able to get rid of this Lantern, my Azumarill is really going to come in here and be able to have a party. So the issue with this though is that I wasn't able to take any of his shields, so he's got a shield advantage on me here, so I'm gonna have to spend my shield very wisely, meanwhile trying to take his shields. And Azumarill doesn't really have great shield pressure, but that's okay. I have my Skarmory, so I'm gonna have to get my Skarmory in here and try to take his shields. So right here I save up for a Hydro Pump, and then I try to switch out 3 different times, and he ends up getting a Sky Attack off, and that's pretty irritating because with matches that are going to be this close, me and the collector have probably had hundreds of battles between each other, so it's kind of about being unpredictable but also playing very, very well. So when you're trying to make an aggressive move and the game doesn't let you do it, it's pretty frustrating, and it set me up poorly for this mirror match here. I felt like it was the right move to do, but after I failed the first 2 switches, maybe I should have just thrown a charge move with my Azumarill. So I'm in a pretty bad way on this mirror match, and I haven't actually managed to take any of his shields yet, so my Skarmory's not doing its job basically. I'm doing okay on health versus his Skarmory, and he switches out right there. I thought I had killed that Skarmory, and that comes back into play a little bit later. So this is just a messy match all around. So I spend the shield on my Skarmory because I know I've got to get a Sky Attack off to take at least one of his shields. So here comes the Sky Attack. Hopefully we get a shield this time. He's really hanging on to those shields, and I managed to get the shield and also managed to get energy out of him because he uses a Foul Play. He might have been thinking I saved up for double Sky Attack. It's something that I do quite a bit against Skarmory. So I have the Play Rough here, and I had a ton of energy on my Azumarill, so I'm able to get back to a Play Rough very quickly. And since I have his final shield, this is pretty much going to knock out his Sableye. And I thought the match was over here, but then Skarmory comes back in, and it takes a bubble to the face and dies. So if he wasn't so low on health and had a move ready, it really could have burned me. For battle number 2, I replace Skarmory with Gallade, and I have the exact same set otherwise. And the reason for Gallade was I need to apply more shield pressure, and I was hoping to get Lantern in the back this time, but he sends Lantern first. So it's Lantern Probopass again. And I really want to get my Gallade in here, but I don't want to have it trapped. So I send a Rock Slide, and I'm going to go ahead and see if he's going to shield it this time because my Probopass won last time. But he's sticking with the same plan. He's not going to shield again. So I send another one, and I'm really trying to get a shield out of him here. And also I'm trying to get him low enough so these confusions do big damage. And I'm going to have to shield a Thunderbolt here. I'm okay with shielding as long as I can get off a Leaf Blade and make him spend a shield. But instead he switches into Sableye, which is a really good counter. I was expecting the Skarmory so he could eat a Leaf Blade and save that shield, but he doesn't. So I've got one shield on him, and I send another Leaf Blade. But instead I'm going to have to use my final shield to send the Leaf Blade. So he's doing a really good job at putting shield pressure on me, and I'm not being able to get the shield pressure that I want. So here we go, and I finally got his final shield. So Gallade's pretty much done his job, but I had to double shield it in the process. So it was kind of a kamikaze move in taking both of our shields and using both of mine. So Sableye comes back here, and he's doing a really good job at playing me out between Lantern and his Sableye. So I still have no idea what his third Pokemon is. And so I'm going to go back into Probopass, and I felt the Thunderbolt coming, so I was trying to hit the Rock Slide. I was going to see if I could farm him down, but I felt the Thunderbolt coming. But that's okay. Probopass ended up living, and I hit the Rock Slide, and Lantern's down. So he's got Sableye with a bit of health on it, and he comes back with Sableye and takes me out. That was a very smart play, and he's going to end up getting my energy here. It was probably a mistake again, to send that play rough, but I also didn't want to take a foul play because I knew here comes that Skarmory, and I probably should have farmed down that Sableye. If I had done that, maybe I would have had enough energy to take on this Skarmory, but right now in the state that my Azumarill's in, I don't have enough time to farm enough energy to get off enough moves to hurt this Skarmory and take it out. So Hydro Pump does big damage, but I need a play rough now, and I'm just not going to get to it. So that was very well played by him, and he managed his Pokemon's health very, very well, and he picked up the win. We are moving on to battle number 3, and I said to myself, there's only so many times you're going to lead Lantern against me and not catch a Gallade to the face, so Gallade's going to come out first this time. I led Probopass twice in a row already. He led Lantern, so I decided to switch it up, and he decided to stay, and I try to switch out here 3 different times, and I end up hitting my charge move somehow. So I was kind of frustrated at the beginning of the match here, but I end up getting a shield out of it, so I'm actually okay with that a little bit, but I'm still a little angry, so I just let Gallade go. So if you're not going to let me switch, I'm going to sacrifice so I can get the switch that I want and take that Niantic. So I've got a Azumarill in here against this Sableye, and he's going to go ahead and send foul plays my way. And that's not very effective, so I'm going to start taking those to the face and try to get off another play rough here and hopefully get a shield out of this. And he lets his Sableye go, so I was actually kind of surprised by that move. But then Lantern comes back, and he said that he switched in Lantern and then switched out accidentally. He double switched somehow and got his Skarmory locked in here, but the problem is I have no idea what I'm fighting. I see no Pokemon, I just see a health bar, and I don't know what's happening. So as soon as I saw that Sky Attack, then I was like, oh, okay, it's Skarmory, and he did say, oh, yeah, you're fighting a Skarmory. So I get Probopass in there knowing that his Skarmory is locked. And then at this point in the match, I'm pretty sure both of us had grounds to restart this match, but we wanted to play it out and see what happens. So if we needed to, towards the end of the match, we would have restarted if we needed to. But both of us decided to play it out here, and I'm fighting an invisible Skarmory, and Probopass can still kill invisible Skarmories. So then Lantern comes back, and Probopass is pretty good here because I still have one of my shields, and I've just taken his final shield. So I double Rock Slide, and Rock Slide does pretty good neutral damage to Lantern there. And I'm going to shield a Thunderbolt here, and that's going to allow me to get back to a Thunderbolt, which I thought would kill. Maybe I should have Rock Slided, but I went Thunderbolt thinking this would kill it, and it ends up not killing that Lantern. So now I've got Zoomer on the back. Luckily I had energy on it, and I'm trying to pull Play Rough as quickly as possible as not to let him get a Thunderbolt off on my Azumarill. And Lantern goes down. So at the end of the match, I asked him if he wanted to restart it since I had won. And then Skarmory comes back. I totally forgot about Skarmory. I was already asking him if he wanted to restart, and then Skarmory comes back and dies. So it was a very, very messy match, but he had thought that he was outplayed, and he didn't want to restart. So I ended up winning the tournament under very suspicious circumstances, but that's okay. I ranked this tournament. It was only a 3-rounder, but at least I went 3-0 under sketchy circumstances, but it's a win nonetheless. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.